What are some things you'd only know by growing up poor? If you send a bad check to the utilities company on a Friday, you have power for the weekend. Pre-cut Christmas trees are free on Christmas Eve. I remember the Christmas tree hunt on Christmas Eve was like our little family tradition. We would drive around in the evening looking for stores that still had trees sitting out front. 9 times out of 10, when we would ask about the tree we were interested in, they would say just take it. Glad to get rid of them by that point. Every year we had a perfectly beautiful tree, and it was exciting to find perfect trees for free and then stay up late decorating it with homemade glitter pine cones and candy canes. Most gas station attendants will not stop a small child from stealing toilet paper from their bathrooms. Who knew? Edit, thanks for the silver. This isn't something I had to do a lot, but it happened from time to time. My mom took excellent care of me. We just fell a bit short sometimes. How good a buttered tortilla is. Ever tried a cinnamon sugar buttered tortilla? Roll it up, microwave 10 seconds, swallow whole and repeat. IDK about in other states, but in MN they can't shut your power off during the winter because of the danger of someone freezing to death in their house. So that was a good time to try to catch up on some other bills you are way behind on too. They just passed the law in Arizona, where it is the other way around starting next summer due to it being 100+ all day and night regularly. Everybody is curious to see how it is going to play out. Libraries can save your life. The first part of my childhood I would get home from school, usually to a vacant house. I really wouldn't know if I was even going to see either of my parents each night. No cell phones of course, but I was always afraid. Nervous at least, of what would happen if they did decide to make an appearance. I started walking to the library every day after school and staying till they closed every night, just to avoid the feeling of anxiety for a little longer. Eventually one of the librarians noticed and took a liking to me. I think she might have been through similar things in her life that she saw in me. Gradually we got to know each other. First I started noticing there were more books being added in the genres that I liked. Then one day after the library closed, I walked over to McDonald's. I was a quarter or so short to buy a hamburger and she saw me asking people if they had any change. I saw her and was embarrassed and kinda hid from her. From that point on I think she decided that she was going to take me under her wing. For over a year she would come by my desk at the library and just drop off chips, granola bars, pop, whatever you know. Of course, I would tell her I didn't need it, when in reality I only knew where one meal would come from each day. When I would ask her where it came from, she would just say it was extras from the break room, even though I could hear her in there putting coin after coin into the vending machine. Eventually she would just bring dinner every night to the library and we would sit down in the break room with each other and eat. I finally opened up to her about my family/living issues and had her to talk to, even though I was still pretty guarded. This was a huge relief. Then, after I had been there almost 2 years, it was the week before school started, and I headed into the library. Before I left she told me to meet her outside after close. I did. We walked to her car, and she pulled out a brand new school backpack, and inside was a new outfit, binder, and shoes. My first Nikes. That's when I broke down, and my walls crumbled. She was a single lady working off a librarian's income, but she still made room for me. For 3 years she supported me as much as she could, and she was more of a friend than I had ever experienced up until that point in my life. She is the #1 reason I got out of that house and life. She was with me at all my adoption hearings and made sure I was put with a nice family. She was at my graduation and my wedding. She saw me grow up and succeed in life after coming from the bottom. She saw her work and love pay off. I went to her funeral this summer and it felt like I had lost my mother, but I couldn't stop reflecting on how much she changed my life through her sacrifice. Truly an amazing person. And I still donate to the library every year. Edit. So I've only really been active on Reddit for a couple months. I think this is how you're supposed to do this though. It's really cool for me to see that this affected people. I wrote it and just expected/intended it to kind of disappear into the other 15k comments. And sometimes it just feels good writing stuff out. So just to level with everyone, I only talk to my closest friends about this in my real life. So let's label this a mini therapy session, if you will. Thanks to everyone for the gold/silver. Like I said, I'm a noob and don't know much about gold, so I will be reading about it after work, haha. Appreciate everyone's kind comments. That sometimes your parents sacrifice everything they have, including their sanity, just to see you happy, and you only learn later in life the soul-crushing existence of poverty. Then you wonder how they managed to do so much with so little. Government cheese. Doing your laundry in a bathtub using only cold water. BC the gas was shut off. Trying to spend the night at your friend's house. BC they had food and a warm room. Thanks Nikki. Loving going to school because you could at least eat there. Trips to Goodwill for new clothes. Showers at school because at least 3 water was warm. Being made fun of because you smelled like kerosene. Having lice and no one doing anything about it. Going to school with bruises. BC your parents took their shitty decisions out in you. I'm so grateful to a handful of people that saw potential in me. I went to college, got a great job, and broke the cycle. Thanks Tom and Tony. Food stamp paper change. When I was a kid, if you used food stamps they would give back the change in food stamp form. My mom was too proud to publicly use them, so she would make up a reason to leave, and I would have to pay using them. I was 11 or so. She did it every time. I had to learn to keep my head up. My mother would send me into the store with 20 food stamps. I would stand at the register and get the 95 cents change for each 5-cent gum. One at a time. They figured out what I was doing and started laughing. But they let me do it. The shame was not nearly as bad as dealing with mama without her methadone. I was 11 too. On the bright side, nothing embarrasses me now. Pizza nights are the best birthday present you could ever fucking get. A whole pizza, ordered exactly how you like it, and you get to have more than one slice. What hunger really is. I remember waiting for my dad's payday for the grocery shopping trip and being absolutely ravenous when the food got there. Not to ask their parents for stuff. I felt so guilty asking for clothes or other school needs. It also made me dread class art projects, especially in non-art classes. Yeah, it's only $20 worth of crafts, but that's money we need for real life. How to cook with the government surplus cheese. We got so much of that cheese. A few years ago I stopped in a Hostess bread store in a poor neighborhood. I was the only white guy in the store, and while waiting in line, other people started talking about the government cheese. And I said that my family got a lot of it, and we liked it. Everyone goes quiet and looked at me. Then someone says, "We thought that was just for black folk." And I said, "No, we got it too because it was for poor people." And then we all started talking about the cheese. How to get the most out of food. My mum grew up poor with 6 siblings and nothing went to waste. My mom could somehow cook 2 chickens on a Sunday and feed 6 people all week. Towards the end it was more just corn chowder cooked in chicken stock, but it was dinner. Also we kept a garden. You didn't work the garden. You didn't eat. Sit down on a summer evening. Better have a bowl in your lap and be shelling, stringing, or shucking something. Feed the hulls to the neighbor's pig, because she'll save a ham for us. Outdated technology. When I started college, one of my professors asked if anyone in our class remembered how you changed a channel on the TV before remote controls. I was the only person in the room who remembered turning dials and adjusting rabbit ears despite being one of the youngest students in the class. Because my family had a TV from the 70s until 1995. Same sort of thing with computers, phones, etc. If we had it at all, we got something much later than anyone else, after it got cheaper and bought used. I got my first computer in 1999. It had Windows 3.1 and that was what I used until I was able to use my financial aid to get a new PC tower for college. How important ingenuity becomes to eat. When you get home and see a yellow notice hanging off your door, you're fucked. It's always on a Friday too, so you're out of luck until Monday. I just had one. I was short on my electric bill, and they left a notice saying they were going to turn me off by that afternoon if I didn't go pay it. I did go pay it. Cockroaches are killed by baking soda. Wait, do you just throw baking soda on them and they die? Why did I not know this? Even better. Boric acid. Preferably borax. Mix it with peanut butter or syrup and leave it on a Tupperware lid wherever you see them the most. Shit dissolves their skeleton and remains in their body. So even after they return to the best, the cycle will continue because roaches are cannibals. Easiest way to get rid of a nest. You'll see results within 2 days. Edit. Holy shit, I got silver. So additional pro tips are, don't leave it near pets because they'll die if they consume the boric acid, and these little traps will last you an entire summer. You can live on strawberry powder, Nesquik and water for 3 days. I had the same diet at the worst part of my life. I realized it was fucked up and I had to move on. Man, that was a painful moment. I hope you are better now. The feeling of not eating for a day or sometimes days. My longest drought was 3 days with no food. Sucks because people make shitty comments about how nice it must be to be so skinny and they have to struggle to keep their weight down. Like, be poor. Go a few days without food and your body just starts to eat itself. I'm thankful I haven't missed a day to eat in 10 years. But I still can't fathom eating 3 meals in 1 day. I truly had no idea until I was in my junior year of high school taking child development that Head Start was a program created for children from homes of low income. I simply thought it was a place for me to get a head start as a kid. I still remember my teacher saying verbatim, "No honey, your family was just poor," in front of the whole class. Edit. RIP my inbox. Ha. Camping is only fun when you've never had to do it out of necessity. You develop an appreciation for hand-me-down clothes when they come your way. Yes, because they were usually still in style and clean. Anything shiny on the ground might be a coin. What it's like to be told you think you're just better than us because my mom valued education and prioritized it so we could do better for ourselves, going into pawn shops to find the things your aunt stole from you and pawn to get drug money, knowing which family members you had to hide medicine, your purses, and other valuables from when they would visit, the embarrassment of whipping out the Monopoly money, food stamps, the taste of government peanut butter, what it's like to use the same bath water as your siblings because running a new tub of water is a waste, the excitement of a trip to the day-old bread store, the ubiquitousness of the concept of need vs want, what it's like to sit at the dinner table emptying piggy banks to help your mom pay bills, holding your mom quietly the amazingly few times she'd break down crying at the end of the day.